In this lecture, we'll discuss about the introduction to dielectric material and parameters of the dielectric materials. So first we'll see what is an insulator and what is dielectric material and what is the difference between these two. So an insulating material is defined as a material that does not allow the electric current to pass through it. So there is a difference between insulator and a dielectric based on their application. So one of the major difference between these two is that the dielectric stores the electric charges while the insulator opposes the flow of electrons. So these are some of the examples of the insulators: rubber, glass, oil, diamond, drywood, etc. So these insulating materials will not allow the electric current to pass through them. And next we'll see what is a dielectric. So this is the arrangement of molecules in the absence of the electric field. So whenever the electric field is applied, so these molecules will get arranged themselves. That is, there will be a slight shift in the molecules. That is, the positive charge will get aligned along the direction of the electric field, whereas the negative charge will get aligned along the opposite direction. Okay, this is called the polarization. In the case of a dielectric material, if we apply electric field, there will be slight shift in the charges, arrangement of the charges. So the dielectric material is capable of polarizing. So it will be polarized by the application of the electric field. So due to polarization, these positive charges will get aligned along the direction of the electric field and negative charges will be aligned in the opposite directions. The examples of such dielectric materials are mica, laminated paper, air, ceramic, etc. So next we'll see what is static electric field. So the region of the space around the electric charge where its influence is felt is defined as the electric field. So the direction of the electric fields represents the direction of the force of the positive charge or experience if placed in the electric field. Say for example, if we are considering two charges Q1 and Q2. So already Q1 is placed in one place, so that will have its own electric field. Suppose this Q2 is brought near this Q1, this Q2 will experience a force due to Q1. Okay, so that force may be attractive force or repulsive force depending upon the charges, whether it is like charge or unlike charge. Okay, so that direction of the electric field represents the direction of the force of a positive charge. Okay, so these static electric fields, from the name itself it is evident that these static electric fields are constant fields and they do not change in intensity or direction over the time. Okay, so this is the existence of the electric field around the charges. So this is how the electric field will exist around the positive charge. That is, the fields will move away from the positive charges. These are the electric field lines. And in the case of a negative charges, it will be in the opposite direction. That is, the electric field will come towards the negative charge. Okay. So suppose positive and negative charges are brought together. Okay. So this is the field of interaction between these two. So if these two are unlike charges, so the force exists between these two are attractive in nature. Okay, this is how the electric field will appear in between these two charges. Suppose two like charges are placed near to each other. Okay, they will repel each other. These force of interaction will be in the opposite directions. So next we'll see what is Coulomb's law. So Coulomb's law is used for finding out the force between these two charges. Suppose Q1 and Q2 are the two point charges. Point charges are nothing but the smaller charges of negligible dimension. Suppose Q1 and Q2 are two point charges separated by a distance r, then the force experienced by these two charges is given by the product of the charges. Okay, and inversely proportional to the square of the distance between them. That is, the force is directly proportional to product of the charges and inversely proportional to the square of the distance between them. So now electric flux. So electric flux is nothing but the electric field lines passing through any plane surface. So here if we can see, this is a plane surface. So the number of lines entering into the surface will leave the surface. So that is, these are the electric flux lines per unit area. So that is defined as the electric flux. So electric flux is represented by psi. So next Gauss law. So Gauss law is nothing but the net outward electric flux through any closed surface is proportional to the total charge enclosed by the surface. So it states that the number of lines, the electric flux lines passing through any closed surface will be equal to the total charge enclosed by the same surface. Okay, this is Gauss law. So the electric flux is equal to the total charge enclosed by the surface. Okay, electric flux is psi and Q is the charge. So the unit for electric flux is also Coulomb. So next, electric flux density. So electric flux density is defined as the electric flux per unit area. Okay, psi by A, or by Gauss law we know that psi is equal to Q. So Q by A. So electric flux density D is also called as a displacement density. So next, electric field intensity E. So the electric field intensity is nothing but the force experienced by any of the unit positive charges at a particular point. That is, force per unit charge is defined as a electric field intensity. So this electric field intensity is a vector quantity. So this electric field intensity is given by E is equal to F by Q. F is the force and Q is the charge. So force per unit charge. Its unit is Coulomb per Newton per Coulomb or volts per Coulomb. So next we'll see what is the relationship between electric field intensity and electric flux. So this electric flux density D is directly proportional to the electric field intensity. Okay, D is directly proportional to E. So this can be written as D is equal to epsilon into E, where epsilon is a constant known as permittivity. So permittivity is nothing but the property of the material to transmit or permit the flow of electric field. So that is the material's ability to transmit the flow of electric field. Okay, so it is also the measure of the resistance that is encountered when forming an electric field within a medium. So the permittivity defines the characteristics of the dielectric material. Okay, so this is also called as a dielectric constant and it has no unit. So that is the ratio between the permittivity of the medium to the permittivity of the free space is defined as a dielectric constant epsilon r. So epsilon r is also called as a relative permittivity. So that is it is defined as a ratio between the permittivity of the medium to the permittivity of the free space. So next, dipole. So dipole is nothing but two equal and opposite charges. Okay, two equal, here positive charge and negative charge. These charges are equal in magnitude. Okay, so these charges separated by a smaller distance is defined as an electric dipole. So next, dipole moment. So dipole moment is defined as a product of charge and the distance between these two charges. Suppose Q is the charge and D is the distance between these two, then the dipole moment is defined as a product of charge into distance. So its unit is Coulomb meter or debye. So 1 debye is equal to 3.336 into 10 power minus 30 Coulomb meter. So here we will see what is polarization. So polarization we have already seen now. So if we apply some external electric field, the positive and negative charges inside the dielectric medium will get aligned along the electric field. Okay, in simple words, this polarization is defined as a total number of dipole moment per unit volume of a polarized material. So that is P is given by mu divided by V, where mu is the dipole moment V is the volume. So its unit is coulomb per meter cube. So the degree of polarization mainly depends upon the density of the material as well as the dielectric constant of the material. So it is found that the dielectric materials, in the dielectric materials, the polarization vector is related to the electric field. So that is, this polarization is directly proportional to the electric field. Whenever we apply electric field, the polarization will happen inside the dielectric material. So this polarization can be written as P is equal to epsilon naught into psi E into E. So where psi is called the dielectric susceptibility. So this is the property of the material. Okay. So the dielectric susceptibility we'll see. So now the dielectric susceptibility is a constant. Okay, it has no dimension. It is a proportionality constant which indicates the degree of polarization of the dielectric material. Okay, so it is also the property of the material, that is the ability of the material to polarize in response to the electric field. So this will give you the electric susceptibility. So next, polarizability. So when a dielectric material is placed in an electric field, the displacement of electric charges gives rise to creation of the dipole in the material. So this we all know. So the polarization of any elementary particle is directly proportional to the electric field strength. So this electric field strength is also called as the electric field intensity. So polarization can also be defined in terms of electric field intensity. That is, polarization is proportional to E, and this can be written as P is equal to alpha into E. Okay, this is the polarizability, where alpha is the polarizability constant.